Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today's video is a guide to getting a driving license in Singapore. If you're interested in learning how to drive at a driving school while minimizing your costs, this video will be helpful for you. You can also explore my website on other guides and finance topics as well. I'll be sharing more about other adulting topics for future videos. Appreciate if you can click on the subscribe button. For today's video, I shared a course breakdown, exam tips, and my review in getting my driving license in Bukit Batok Driving Centre. To get your license, you have to take theory and practical lessons, simulator training, practical driving lessons, and tests. I hope this video can help you make a more informed decision if getting a driving license in Singapore is on your mind. Class 3A is for auto cars, which makes up the majority of the cars on the road. If you have a Class 3 driving license, you can drive cars with automatic or manual transmission. I obtained a Class 3A driving license in Singapore at Bukit Batok Driving Centre after completing 23 practical driving classes. The last 5 lessons were focused on preparing for the driving test. I found the evaluation for basic and final theory challenging and passed them only on my second try. Both practice and evaluation enabled me to prepare well for the 2 theory tests so I could pass them on the first try. You can obtain a driving license in Singapore as a private candidate or through one of the 3 driving schools. If you choose to take a private route, you have to find your own instructor. I picked a driving school that is the closest to me. You can head to the driving school's website to learn about the training structure, course fee, and the test fee. Do check if walk-ins are allowed and the earliest date you can book the test. Here is my cost breakdown for getting a driving license in BBDC. The total cost is slightly over 2.9k with the bulk of the cost from practical driving lessons. I took 23 lessons. The first 18 classes were to clear the syllabus. The next 5 classes were to practice on areas that I'm weaker in. The course fees increases as I have to retake my driving test. If you have moderate interest in learning how to drive, you might want to consider doing it ASAP due to the rising costs. It used to cost 2.1k 3 years ago. It's currently at least 2.5k for those who pass on their first try. Here are my top 3 tips that help me to lower the cost of getting my driving license. You can buy the course materials from Carousel at around half the price. Next, to avoid the fees for retaking the exams, there's free online practices to practice on. The practice tests from the driving school were useful as it overlaps with the questions from the actual test. I'm glad that I was a student from the driving school as there are more practice questions for me to do. Finally, the driving test fee costs over $300 per try, so it's good to maximize the value of each practical driving lesson by being familiar with the syllabus beforehand. Here are the 7 factors to consider when deciding between a driving school or pursuing as a private candidate and why I chose the former. The rates offered by the driving school seems quite reasonable and the duration is set at 100 minutes. Practicing on the school circuit at any time during the class is convenient. Having different instructors for each lesson isn't a problem as there's consistent quality across all of them. The curriculum is well organized and the handbook outlines the specifics of the upcoming practical driving lessons so I could revise beforehand. But booking classes at BBDC is challenging due to the high demand and insufficient slots. The driving school's most appealing aspect is the high passing rate among its students. Also, those enrolled in the driving school can take more practice tests compared to the private candidates. For enrollment in BBDC, you have to make an online appointment first before heading down for eyesight, color blindness tests, and photo taking for your driving license. No walk-ins are allowed. You'll need to top up your account for enrollment fee, lessons, and tests. For school learners, $2,000 is a good starting point. A refund will be provided if your account has a minimum value. As the enrollment period is for a year, it will be good to get your driving lessons within the time frame. The cost of the membership extension varies according to each driving school. BBDC offers a more flexible option as monthly extensions are allowed after the 1-year period from the application date has passed. At popular driving schools such as Bukit Batok Driving Centre, the waiting time for tests can be approximately 1 month or less. But securing the first driving lesson may take around 3 to 6 months due to the limited slots. Booking practical classes at Comfort Deltro Driving Centre in Ubi seems easier. The scheduling of driving classes depends on your preferred timeline for completing the course and your ability to absorb the concepts. Personally, I opted for a more accelerated approach, completing 18 classes within 5 weeks. It's really tiring because I took a minimum of 3 classes per week, which is demanding but helpful because consecutive classes reinforce the material, so what I learned remains fresh in my mind. Opting for time slots with lighter traffic is good, as it offers a more conducive learning environment. That's why I avoided peak periods where people are commuting to and from work. There are 2 online lessons available for both basic and final theory test preparation. The introduction includes road safety, signs, and footage of road situations. After completing these lessons, do book your basic theory test early. Passing the test allows you to apply for a provisional driving license through the Singapore Traffic Police website. With it, you can take practical driving lessons and drive on public roads. It's not a rush to take the final theory test as you can study for it while taking private practical classes. Even for Class 3A licenses, the test covers aspects of how driving a manual car works, so it might be easier to understand certain concepts while learning how to drive. Passing the FTT is one of the criteria for taking the practical driving test. Midway through the practical driving classes, you'll be able to take simulator training and risk forecast training. Once you completed a specific module in your practical lessons, the compulsory simulator classes will be available for booking. It is advisable to book these slots quickly due to the high demand and to progress to the next level of the driving syllabus. During these lessons, you will be tasked with accelerating to a certain speed in a driver's seat in a simulator room and be tested on your reactions to hazards and other scenarios. You also have to book an online risk forecast training where you can learn about how to manage risks on the road. For BBDD students, you can book a maximum of 18 classes and it takes around 18 to 23 lessons to complete the syllabus. I scheduled my first 18 driving lessons for 7:20 p.m. Night driving is manageable, but driving in the rain is challenging. You'll know which car you are allocated around 30 minutes before the class. Do use the app to check the car number. The cars in BBDC are modified with a brake pedal on the front passenger seat, so the instructor can brake the car on your behalf if needed. The circuit syllabus includes key driving skills such as directional changes, braking on ramps, diverse parking methods, and navigating different road scenarios. I drove on the public road during my second driving lesson. The most helpful resources for exam preparation for me are the practice questions from the driving school and a mock test from Singapore Police Force website, as they closely resemble actual exam questions. During revision, I compiled commonly tested questions for both final and basic theory tests. Although the questions from workbooks and apps differ from the actual test, they serve as a solid foundation for understanding. The final tests are easier compared to the evaluations. After every driving lesson, I consolidate my learning to limit the mistakes. I book 2 lessons before my driving test for extra preparation and to focus on specific areas that need improvement. Before the test, there is a 1-hour warm-up period. It's important to remember to bring your NRIC and provisional driving license. Driving school practice focuses on circuit-based parking, limiting exposure to essential skills like navigating multi-story car park slopes. It's recommended to have a comprehensive and practical driving skill set after getting your license. Ultimately, the decision may depend on your learning style, budget constraints, and flexibility you require. Some learners may benefit from the structured environment of a public driving school, while others may prefer the personalized approach of a private instructor. Before making a decision, consider researching and gathering feedback from others who have experienced both options in your area. Thank you for watching the video. I hope it has been useful for you. Please subscribe to stay updated with my upcoming content. You can connect with me on Telegram and Facebook for additional guides.